Today we're going to explore a forgotten domed structure you've never been inside. We're going to learn the mystery of the so-called Temple of Minerva Medica. Today I want to take you on a really special visit. This is a place that's not normally accessible to the public. You can drive by, the trains go by, you can see it on your way into Termini. But stepping inside and exploring this space is something entirely different. What is it? Well, it's a bit of a mystery, but we'll take a look at the archaeological evidence and we'll unravel the story of the so-called Temple of Minerva Medica. Today we're going to be exploring a part of the Esquiline Hill, and it's near the Termini train station. You can see the train tracks right here. And it's a very densely packed urban environment that surrounds this very particular, very impressive archaeological ruin. And it's hard to get a sense of its original setting because we have so much of modernity encroaching upon this site. But it's well worth a visit. It's well worth just even seeing it from the exterior. It is so massive. It is so impressive and recently restored, as we can see here. It is part of a series of complexes that are owned by the Imperial family, stretching on for great distances, a series of green estates, the horti complexes. Let's explore inside right now the so-called Temple of Minerva Medica. Man, what a treat to be inside this dome structure. It's going up to about 26 meters in height, about 24 meters in diameter. It's one of the forgotten domes of Rome, recently restored. It's a place that you can visit, and I assure you it is worth the effort, because what you're doing is you're stepping into what we think at this point is Constantinian Rome. Down the street is the Caesarium, which is rebuilt by Constantine's mother, and you have palaces galore here historically on the fringe of the city, but it is along the Aurelianic walls, and it is something to admire. We'll take a look at the marble decoration, we'll take a look at the engineering, and we'll take a look at the fact that there's just so many things in Rome that are amazing, that you have to get to, that you can drive by, and of course one of the great things you can do is explore and come inside. First of all, where are we in Rome? Or rather, where were we? Well, in this area on the Esquiline Hill, there were a series of horti, or garden estates. They were all over the city as a kind of a green belt, but here there were many going back to the 1st century BC, and on the grounds of the so-called Minerva Medica Temple, originally there were the horti Liciniani, the horti Pallantiani, and the horti Epaphrodidiani. So these are estates that all become the property of the emperor, from Augustus and afterwards. And in the distance, there's another very important horti estate, the Severan Caesarium, where today we have the Church of Santa Croce di Gerusalemme. That was substantially rebuilt under Helena, the mother of Constantine. And the brick stamps of this structure, of this dome structure that we're examining, also date to the time of Constantine, so it probably was an extension of those imperial horti from the time of the Severans and onward to Constantine that were all interconnected as one large, sprawling estate. Now this hall then was an audience hall, or a triclinium space, and the core of it is this impressive decagonal hall, 10-sided hall, that is just massive, and it's about 24 meters across, and the overall height originally 33 meters. Think about it. In terms of domes in the city of Rome, only larger domes that exist are the Pantheon and the original domed caldarium space of the Basilica Caracalla. But this dome is particular. It was a new innovation of the 4th century AD. The concrete dome is made into umbrella-shaped wedges, and they actually have a kind of veining or infrastructure in brick, so a kind of brick ribbing that is still visible today. So on the ground level, you have 9 alcoves plus the entrance for the 10 sides. And they're surmounted
by 10 massive windows. So that dome was extraordinary. It's lighter than the heavy concrete of the Pantheon, but it seems that it created some issues because outside, a whole series of buttresses are added subsequently. Also, in addition, a number of rooms are going to be added on the exterior, probably for more dining or pageantry. But it is important to know that even within a generation of its construction, the engineers are obviously worried about the integrity of this dome. Now, we can look at drawings from the 18th century, for example, this one by Piranesi, and we can see that it's largely intact. The real collapse didn't happen until 1828. Now let's take a look at the decoration itself. We can see ample examples of marble veneer from the dowel rods of marble that are still hammered into and visible on the wall surface. We can also see right here where the attachment system is better preserved, the actual impression of the marble panels squished into the concrete. And we can also see all of these shims of amphorae that are also used for the attachment system. There were also glass paste mosaics in the apses, so we can see the preparatory level of that tells us the actual surface when finished was extraordinary, with opus sectile marble and glass paste mosaics. The room was heated, and we can admire right here the area where the floor was once raised and the hypocaust system was used. Look right there, that's the hole for the prefernium, the furnace that heated the underground space. So it was used year-round. Think about the pageantry involved here. Think about the host and the guests and the spectacle that they would have witnessed. We know that niches were filled with statuary. Several magnificent statues were found, smashed up and dumped into medieval walls that were contiguous with this monument. Here are two from Monte Martini Museum that date to about 400 AD. A father and son, magistrates, they're about to drop the napkins that would start the races and the Circus Maximus. Today, of course, what we admire is an isolated monument. It's largely forgotten by the public, but the recent restoration that we can admire from the exterior and the interior underlines its importance and underlines if you are interested in Roman engineering and architecture, you should come here and explore this monument, and we can now reconnect it with those large garden states going all the way to the time of Constantine, all the way to the Caesarian Palace in the distance.
What is so amazing about this space is that you have to be inside it to truly appreciate it. It's a hulking ruin. You can see the hulking ruin as you leave or enter into Termini train station, but really to be inside it, you get a real appreciation. There are so many traced remains of the original decoration, panels of marble, stucco, glass mosaics, and of course at a certain point, some of the flooring is even heated. So we're talking about a magnificent space for pageantry, for receiving people, part of the extended estates of the Constantinian family all the way back to the Caesarium, where you have today's Santa Croce di Gerusalemme Church. And all of it together just underlines the incredible architecture, underlines just the prestige. And this is innovative architecture. It's a different type of vaulting system. And of course, it resists the passage of time. It resists the trains passing by. A recent restoration has really made sure that this will be here for future generations. It's loomed large in people's consciousness. They thought it was a temple, but it's not a temple. It's part of this incredible state that we think can go back to the time of Constantine. Some brick stamps of that time period were found, and it's still a place that you can come and explore today. It's totally worth a visit.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Don't forget, you can travel with me in Rome and throughout the empire. Just sign up for my newsletter.